Good morning, everybody, and welcome to my garden. It is June 30th, and I am so excited to show you guys all the growth that has happened in just a few short weeks. If you are new here, my name is Haley. This garden is a 30 by 30 plot, and I garden in west central Minnesota. This is only the third year I've been on this property, so I'm still establishing the ground and the soil and the garden beds, but we're slowly getting there. We're figuring out what works, what doesn't, and making adjustments slowly. If you have been here before, I encourage you, if you haven't, to go back and watch my early June garden tour to show you guys kind of where we started out with. Remember, I do not start any plants indoors. I direct sow all of this. So thankfully this weather has been very, very helpful to the garden. We've had several hot days, a lot of rain, and it's just been wonderful. I want to go through and show you guys everything. If you're new to this garden, the outside of my garden is a 3-foot bed all the way around the perimeter. I have 3 rows going through the center that are about 4 foot wide. And then everywhere around my garden, like at the edge of the garden beds, you'll see planters. This side of me is all planters. Some I'm not using right now. I have to establish as I slowly find more around this homestead. But I want to share with you too that there's a couple things that I'm still struggling with yet this year. Still having issues on germination on my green onions. That's slowly coming. A lot of my herbs are very slow to come in and slow to grow. We are also having a huge issue with chipmunks still, and they are destroying my zucchini. They really like the seeds if they're freshly planted, and they really like the young seedlings. Thankfully, I've gotten on top of it, and I've gotten a few established plants now, but I still have a big bare spot in my garden beds where I have tried to resow about 5-6 times now. I have bought an owl. Hopefully that would deter them right above where they really like to eat my zucchini. They could care less. So we got a live trap yesterday, and we have that set up in the garden bed with some birdseed that I know they like because they have ripped a hole in our plastic container in our garage where the birdseed is to get in there. And they even invited the squirrels. So I'm hoping we can slowly start trapping these guys and relocating them so they're not an issue in my garden and in our garage anymore. We have a family of at least 5 living under our porch, and they're not so much of a nuisance. They're very friendly. They haven't destroyed anything except that tote, so we just got a metal container in our garage now for the birdseed. Other than that, they haven't wrecked anything else except my garden, so this is the place I don't want them. I will take you guys around and show you everything we've got. I'm super excited to share this with you guys today. Super excited. Let's go. This is the green bean patch. As you can see, this is one of the first that came up. He didn't do very well. We have a significant pest pressure here. It's gotten better. The new leaves aren't as damaged, and they're starting to put on pods, but they're just not so pretty. I garden organically, so I try not to use any pesticides, even organic pesticides, because if it kills the bad bugs, it will also kill the beneficial bugs. So we're just going to have an ugly green bean patch as they come through. The stronger they get, the better they get, the more the pest pressure will subside. But if I see another bad round of them, I might spray them here soon before I need to harvest the peas or harvest the green beans out of here. There are a couple bare spots that I've slowly resown, and it looks like I'll have to resow again. But that's all right, because I did not do any succession planting this year. I just did one big patch. So if I have other plants coming in slowly, like this is a new little guy, then I'll have more chances to harvest. Bush beans, which are obviously what these are usually determinants, which means that they only produce a certain amount of beans per plant.
And then they kind of produce all at once and then they stop, but that's not been my experience. Last year I harvested from the same plants that were my first succession. I harvested through them all summer long. So we'll see, but it will be nice to have a couple other successions. This is the happiest looking row right here. But they're doing what they need to do. That's all that matters. And over here is the patty pan squash. This is my first year growing these. They were a little slow to come in, but they're doing good now. Looks like we got some fruit starting down there maybe. This soil in this part of the garden is not great. It kind of starts going downhill there, so any good soil that I have put here, which has not been much, kind of washes out. So they're still doing all right. And here are my one trellis of peas. Guys, I'm so excited about this. Look how beautiful. Look how beautiful. Now this is an old bed frame that we found on property here. And I thought it would make a very beautiful trellis. And this is my first time growing peas. These are just sugar snap peas of some sort. I don't remember the variety, but my first time growing them. And I know I have peas pods somewhere. I had some somewhere that I think are about ready to harvest. Some over here. I'm not exactly sure when they're ready, but they're getting kind of thick. I know I don't want them to get too thick because then they'll start drying out, but I had a few more somewhere too. Look at how beautiful they are. I didn't realize how pretty these were going to be. I had planted some zinnias back there, but I don't see any coming up. That's okay. It's pretty shaded out most of the day over there. And I'm realizing this shades out this little guy. I think that's why he's so much smaller than the rest of them, is because I think that casts a lot of shade in the afternoon. Here's the start of my volunteer dill bed. It's hard to differentiate between grass and dill on video, but I have harvested so much volunteer dill already this year, given a lot away. I've dried 3 rounds of it already. Just look at all that dill. Volunteer sunflower right there. Just look at all that volunteer dill. I love it. I love it. I love it. I'm gonna have some coming up in my radish bed. Also learned that the chipmunks love radishes, just about as much as my husband does. All right, this is a zucchini that I had to re-sow several times. He's coming up good now. I think at that size they're fine. It's just when they're a little smaller. And there's another zucchini hidden there in the dill. There was another seedling here, but it looks like they got to this one last night. This is the issue I'm having. Or they just dig up the seeds. And that little zucchini's coming up. Now remember, I don't weed my beds very much. I have mulch down. I weed if they get in the way. But so you see a lot of weeds, and that's normal for me. I had another seedling that was supposed to be coming up here, but see a hole here that they probably dug it out. Cucumber beds. That's one hill. There was another hill here that all the chipmunks ripped up. It was a good hill and they ripped it all up, so I planted new seeds, and so far that's the only one that's come up. I'm thinking they ate the other seeds. Another beautiful volunteer sunflower and another hill of cucumbers. Now over here is another wall of peas. This one's got several pea pods on them. Oh yeah, these are nice and thick. I think those are probably ready to harvest soon. Not that one. Guys, this is so exciting. I've already harvested all the radishes for the year. And now soon I'll be harvesting all the peas. That's the beauty of Minnesota, is even the cool weather crops, you can have them throughout the summer, because like yesterday was early 60s. It's beautiful. I do have some zinnias I planted back here, but these ones are actually coming up. There's a couple more back there. And then this is a weed, but it is so pretty that I just kind of like let it come through. Here's some more zucchini. These ones are doing a little bit better. These ones actually look like they're starting to put on flowers. It means we'll have zucchini soon. Some more dill. Pinch that seed off though. Another zucchini that was partially munched on, but looks like they saved enough of it. That's very kind of them. Some more zucchini. That is starting to put on flowers and fruit. Yay! Another baby. Now, over here, here's my live trap. These 3 beds, I had planted zucchini in for about the 5th time, and I have that screen door over there that I laid on top of them so they couldn't get in there and dig them up. That worked great, but then the seedlings got so big that I needed to remove the screen so they could get sun and not be squished down. And within about an hour of me removing that, they had eaten all of these seedlings. So that worked great, but didn't do anything for after. So these 3 are bare. I've replanted them many, many times. Not sure what else to do. And then there's this little one that's been chewed on multiple times, you can see. And it's still trying. So very frustrating. Very, very frustrating. Hopefully we can figure that out soon. I'm hoping I'll have enough plants to keep me happy. But you never know. Alright, let's go around this edge here. This is my green stock. I plant lettuce, basil, and parsley in this. A couple different types of basil. I think I need to thin some of these lettuces out. But they're not doing that great this year. They're not as big as my other lettuce. So I'm not sure what's going on. They did great in my green stock last year. Maybe I just need to thin them out here. This is basil. I'm not sure what variety this is. I have each variety as a row. It looks like this lettuce fell down because that should be basil. But that little guy can come back. I have a discard for when I'm thinning out my lettuce. Let's see here. Some more lettuces. I'll have to come through and thin those out. Some basil, getting a little bit bigger. It's been slow to go. This is a nice looking lettuce. I believe this is little gem lettuce. I think that's what I planted in here was little gem lettuce. Baby parsley. And lots more baby basil on top here. This is what a very, very, very new parsley looks like. It looks very similar to some of the weeds we have around here, so I have to be careful. That's what the next phase of it looks like. Hopefully some of this lettuce comes back. Not sure why usually my green stock does really well, but not sure why they seem to be struggling in there this year. But it's okay. Figure it out. Alright, guys, this is my other lettuce bed. I have picked 5 or 6 gallon bags of this lettuce, thinning it out and just harvesting it. And I have to keep thinning it out because I don't want it to choke out my peppers I also have in here. Look at this growth, guys. From my last video of my peppers, starting to put on baby peppers now. These look so good. This is so exciting. Peppers are becoming one of my favorite things in the garden. But this lettuce bed, I did not expect it to do this. I just broadcast it in here because usually I did green onions in here last year, and I thought I would try lettuces. Wild, guys. This is wild. They're very leggy, but it's because the edge of the garden bed, they're not going to seed by any means yet. But man, guys, my Great Marconi, those are, I don't remember what variety these are. These are my natapenos. These are my, they aren't actually natapenos. I think they're just, the variety is called Pepper Tricked You. It's a jalapeno, but no heat. So my husband will actually eat them. But these are my Great Marconis, and they are a little slower going than those guys. But they're still doing okay. I keep trying to cut back more and more lettuce around them to give them what they need. But I think these guys are just slower going. This little friend over here, I think he thinks he's alone. One of my garden mentors said the phrase, peppers like to hold hands. She learned from another gardener, and it's very true. They like to be close to each other, and they like to be... No, they're not alone. And I think this little guy thinks he's alone because he's not thriving near as much as the others. He'll do okay, though. We'll get there, even if it takes him a little while. I'm so excited, guys. These peppers, if you've never seen a Great Marconi pepper, they get about 8 inches long. They are massive. So these plants, the next time you see them, will be much higher and higher than those guys probably. Oh, I'm so excited. Look at how beautiful this bed looks. Look at that. Wild. There's a basil. I planted these basil the same time I planted my green stalk basils. And they're still very slow going, but still doing much better than the other ones. This bed is a new bed that I found around here that I'll establish for next year. Obviously, it's not ready. I have to put soil in it and everything, but I put some hay in there to break down, and I've been throwing my lettuce scraps in there to add to the organic matter. And this one I'm not using this year, obviously. Another basil. This is my best looking basil. Best looking basil. And, oh, shocker, more volunteer dill. But, yeah, I'm not sure. I know basil likes hot weather, and I know we've not had much of it. So I got to give it grace. I got to remember. These are the basil plants that I see are from gardeners that start them inside and who live in much hotter climates than I do. So it's hard not to compare, but you're doing great, little guy. All right. Starting here. One of my strawberry beds. These plants are looking so good. These are ever-bearing strawberries. I prefer them over June-bearing. The first year I grew these, I got very scared because they started putting on strawberries fairly early when I got them from the local nursery. And they stopped producing, and I started freaking out because I thought, what did I do wrong? But I learned that ever-bearing does not actually mean what it says in some circumstances, or in this circumstance. They'll set on a bunch of fruit early in the summer, and then they'll get bigger and bushier and create more runners. And then they'll have another wave of fruit later on. So we got our first wave of strawberries from these guys. And now we just wait until we can get some more. All right. I might have to go lock the chickens out because they will join me. Love you, girls, but no. No, thank you. That one is my pet. She follows me everywhere. And that's Magnolia, and she follows me everywhere too. Sorry, girls. All right, back to the garden. These are cucumbers. They're looking good. More dill. I think I intentionally planted that one this year. So that one will hopefully still be producing when I need to make pickles. Look at these cucumbers, guys. They're starting to vine out already. They're beautiful. And look at this volunteer sunflower. This one's gonna be so pretty. So pretty. Gosh, volunteers are just wonderful. This is a different variety of cucumbers. I ran out of seeds. I don't remember the exact name. I think it's Macklemore? Is that not right? But yeah, these look great. These are doing really good. They're really branching out. More dill. And a big sunflower. So excited. So excited. This little sprawling flower that I got from the nursery, I like putting these types of flowers in watering cans. I have this one, and then I have one over there. And this one wasn't doing so well at first, but it's coming back, so I'm happy about that. More volunteer dill in my radish bed. Like I said, I've already harvested all my radishes except a couple of these baby ones that I wanted to let go to seed. There's one here. I don't know how good that one's gonna taste though. Maybe we'll let the chickens have that one. Don't tell my husband. Oh, guys. There's a bumblebee on this flower right here. Hello, little friend. That's so fun. This radish is starting to go to seed, and I'm going to let it. All right, here is some more volunteer dill in this bed, and this is... I planted green onions in here twice now. They are very slow to germinate. And when they... Oh, here's one. And when they do come up, they're tiny. So here's one. But the first time I planted them, I think it was a little too cool. I don't remember when I planted this second round, but I think within the germination period, I don't know why they would not be coming up otherwise. This is a whole new bag of seeds. The first round was old seeds and might have been too cold, but this round was plenty warm and a new bag, so I'm not sure. I think I just need to be a little bit more patient. This bed is my wildflower bed where I just broadcasted a bunch of marigold seeds, sunflowers, zinnias. I just broadcasted a ton of seeds in here. And it's hard to tell because I can't weed whip in here or anything. But there's lots coming up. Even some dill. Grasses, which I find pretty as well. Dandelions. Look at all these sunflowers. All those zinnias. So hopefully they will start blooming soon. Well, it'll be a little bit, but when you plant sunflowers close together like this, they're not going to get as big. They're going to stay thin and short. And I think some of these are actually a dwarf variety anyways. But when they're all on their own like that, they get big. But when they're all close together like this, they're going to stay smaller. Some more strawberries. Same thing with the other ones. Just waiting. This is the start of my wild pumpkin that decided to volunteer in this bed. How wild is that? He's vining everywhere. I didn't grow any pumpkins this year. And I think the garden was like, no, you need to grow pumpkins this year. So I decided to throw one in this bed. I think it's choking out these strawberries a little bit because these are not as big and bushy as the others, but that's okay. And cantaloupes, per usual, for me anyway, I grew them in the same spot the first year and the second year on the other side of the garden. This is my first year ever moving them, hoping that would help. And I know this is a good, healthy bed. So I think it's just the cantaloupes, honestly. And these seeds, I think, are like 4 years old, so I'm surprised they all germinated. Tracks of somebody digging in here again, but they haven't hurt my cantaloupes. There's some more over here. This one's starting to climb out a little bit. They have just a lot of work to do yet. These ones look a little healthier anyway, but they're still so small. They've been out of the ground for a long time. I don't think they probably look very similar to what they did the last video. This little guy's looking great. Beautiful. My one lone green onion from my first succession of the year. He's the only one that's going. Looks like somebody was digging in here again. So I have more green onions planted in here again with that new bag of seeds. But again, I don't see any coming up. Oh, maybe I do see one right here. One little baby guy. They're so hard to see. And I don't know if they're weeds or if they're green onions for a while. At least I can't tell. I know it's healthy soil because you can see these little mushrooms in here. So we'll just have to, maybe that was one. No, that might be grass. Yeah, I think that's grass, but we're just going to leave it. I don't know, guys. I don't know what's going on with my green onions this year. Maybe they're mad that they didn't get the bed with the peppers. Who knows? All right, guys, that is it for my garden.
Thank you guys for hanging out with me today. I love showing off my garden and I love making these videos so even I can look back and see during the winter when nothing's growing, it's just covered in snow. I can look back and say, oh, I remember that feeling of being so grateful for how much the garden is growing. I'll probably post another one of these late July. And again, guys, the growth in all of it is going to be so wild. Stick around if you want to see bits and clips of the garden as I post other videos. A lot of the videos I post are homesteady kind of vlog types. And some of that time is spent in the garden. So you'll see bits and pieces here and there, or of me showing the highlights of how special certain things are, like garden harvests or flowers blooming, etc. So again, thank you guys for hanging out with me today, and we will see you next time.